toxic shame is the biggest thing that will keep you from ever achieving your full potential. It's funny because when I was severely struggling with bulimia, I would have told people I didn't have any shame. But once I stepped out of that secret and finally talked about it, that was the word I clung to. I was like, oh my gosh, I was living in so much shame. And what's interesting is I thought that I just had shame for the bulimia, but usually whatever unhealthy habit it is, right? So if it's an eating disorder or if it's addiction of some sort, that usually is actually masking the deeper shame. And so there's double shame. Shame is the belief that something about you is so flawed, so messed up, you will not be loved and accepted. That's what shame is. And so to avoid feeling that, we chase all these other things outside of ourselves to try to feel valued and worthy. The reason I say toxic shame is the greatest thing that will stand in your way of ever reaching your full potential is because in order to reach your full potential, there's only one person that you need permission from, and that is yourself. And that takes self-love. That you love yourself enough to say, I deserve this dream. I deserve to go for this. I deserve to not live a life based on other people's expectations for me. It takes self-love. You'll never get to self-love if you're hiding something. And oftentimes with toxic shame, it makes us hide something. It makes us hide a part of our story. I went around at one point in my childhood and I took off all of the photos. I hid them from my mom even. I was like, oh my gosh, I felt like I looked so awful in these pictures. It was like I was trying to hide this picture of my body that I felt like would tell people even more so that I was unworthy. So behind shame, there's usually hiding, and you can't get to self-love when you're hiding a part of your story. And so this is why you need to own your story. The way to self-love is owning your full story, the good and the bad, and we all have it. We all have stuff that we're like, ooh, that's a little not pretty to look at. That's what being human is. And also, you don't have to, get on Instagram like I do, I guess, and tell people like, hey, here's what I struggle with. But for me, it's healing, and it helps me stay in a good place. It keeps me accountable, and it's that sharing of my struggles that allows me to love myself more, because it's like, well, hey, I'm not perfect. I'm just trying to live my life the best I can. And hopefully it helps someone else.